with me, Reverend Lee Wallach. We're here each and every day, 8 a.m. for your viewing and listening pleasure as we explore life, as we question life, as we try to understand life from this human mind, from this human perspective, realizing that we're creating a dream. We're creating our own illusion. We get to live in that illusion. So one of the things that has really been popping up a lot lately is this idea that, God, I've got to help that person. I got to change that person. How many of you have been in a relationship where you've wanted to change the person in the relationship? Or how many of you have been in a relationship where your partner has wanted to change you? How did that work? Let me tell you. I'll tell you how it worked. It didn't. Because here's the key thing. It's impossible to change someone else. You don't have that power. If you force them and you force them and force them, eventually they will rebel. Change has to happen by the desire of the individual doing the change. It cannot help because you want them to change because it'll make you feel better. That's the common thing that's happening right now. That's been happening for decades and decades and decades. You must change. My wife will say to me, you must change so I can be happy. No, ain't happening. I'll change to make me happy. I'll change to be my authentic self. You see, here's the key thing to understand. Everyone has different highest values. In other words, there are 4,628 human traits out there. We have all of those traits. Those traits can be translated into values. So I have a set of values, and I know what my top 5 values are. My top 5, the things that are most important to me. Most important to me. And guess what? I'm not going to do anything that's a lower value or change for a lower value and sacrifice my top 5. Do you get that? Because I've determined I know what's important in my life. And whether you know it or not, unconsciously or subconsciously, you know what your top values are. You may not realize it, but when you get that thing and say, I ain't doing that. I'm not doing that. Why is my partner? Why is she wanting me to do that? Why is my friend wanting me to do that? That doesn't feel right to me. And so you may at first, because you're infatuated with an individual, you may try to make the change and you'll go along for a little bit. But then once the infatuation stage of a relationship ends, then what do? You revert to what you value most. Here's a key thing. You cannot trust anyone to live up to anything but what they value most. They may give in for a while and make you feel like they've changed for you, but eventually, guess what? They're going back to who they are because that's who they are. And it's only when they make the determination to change that they will change. They've got to do it, not you. So good morning, Quentin, Annette, Wendy, Tanisha, Shereel, Kai, and Merlinda. If there's others out there, please check in. Also, give me some comments. Talk to me. What do you feel about this? What's going on in your life? I want to share with you. I don't just want to talk. I want to connect with you. I want to engage with you because that's what makes this fun is when we engage together. So don't be shy. And we got Mark and Lori, probably Lori out there. I know Lori well. She's a sweetheart. Anyway, you're probably all sweethearts. Even you guys are sweethearts, but that's okay. So here's the key thing. Don't ever change for someone else because you'll be miserable. It will not work. It will not work. Change for you. But not change for you because it's something you think you ought to do. Change for you because it's something that's in your heart that is desiring to be. So as I continue to teach, and teaching for me, teaching human behavior and spirituality is my second value. My second value. Not my first. My first is becoming more aware. That's my number one value, becoming more aware. So my second value is teaching So when people make suggestions to me, how can I teach and affect more people? How can I reach more people in teaching? I'm going to listen. And if it requires me to adjust and it's within my nature, guess what? I'm going to do it. But if it's not within my nature, hey, you need to do this because that'll make me feel good. Whoa. All of a sudden, what happens? Warning signal, because it makes you feel good. Here's what a good teacher does. A good teacher presses students' buttons. Why? Because if you don't press their buttons, how are they going to heal those buttons? And guess what? I'll bet you everyone who's listening out there has buttons. You know what I mean. That which someone says, just get your goat. And we've all got buttons. I mean, today, this society that we've got out there, my God, you've got to be politically correct in just about every friggin' thing you do. And you know what I say to that? Bull crunch. I don't have to be politically correct on anything. Here's what I have to do. I have to come from a place of love. And what does it mean to come from a place of love? It means to come from a place of acceptance. Seeing what is, accepting what is, and then moving forward in the best way you know how to be a greater expression of love. You know, Merlinda, I've challenged my wife, I can't tell you how many thousand times over the last 48 years to change. And whenever she did, it never lasted. And she wasn't happy, and neither was I. Stopped asking her to change. Now, here's a great question to ask your partner. How can I support you as you become what you want to be? Do you feel the difference of the energy of that? How can I support you as you become what you want to be? Now, you're dancing with them. You're not fighting with them. You're dancing with them. That's a different way of living, isn't it? I love it. So Quentin's out there, and Quentin says, by Dr. David Richow, there are 5 A's to healthy relationships: attention, acceptance, appreciation, affection, allowing. Well, those are 5. Let me give you something else to think about. He doesn't have attraction down. There's number 6. You got to be attracted to the person physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically. There has to be attraction. Here's another thing. If you're going to have a great relationship, and this is really big, it's got to feel safe. If it doesn't feel safe, chances are it's not going to go anywhere. Here's another thing that's not said there. The purpose of a relationship is very simply this: to grow and support each other. That's the only reason you're in a relationship, is to support and grow each other. You're on a journey. You're on separate journeys, but you're on a journey together. And the journey together helps you become independent more and become more of yourself. Here's another one. He didn't have the F down there, Quentin. Do you know what the F is? It's not what you're thinking. F is healthy relationships are fun. Yeah, we've forgotten that. We haven't made relationships fun, and that's what it's about. My God, if you're not having fun in a relationship, I ask the question, why are you in the relationship? Just interesting. And I'm not saying he's wrong, but you know, a lot of people give us these ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, but there is no such thing as just 5 or 4 or 3. There's infinite ones. And so we've got to become what? More aware. The more aware we are, the greater the relationship. That's interesting. Lori says that's why her mom is with her dad, because he's the only man she's never been afraid of. You know, one of the things that we do in Agape when we do classes, like right now we're in the midst of classes, the very first day when I start a class, I tell people that we're creating a safe environment and that everything that happens in the class stays in the class, and you are free. You are free to be yourself. Because here's what, if you can't be yourself, how can anyone accept you? And if they can't accept you, then you got to ask the question, is an acceptance love? So if you're not authentic, if you're not your real self, how can you even be loved? Let alone by someone else, loved by yourself. Because if you're not being yourself, chances are you're in extreme judgment. And when you're in extreme judgment, there is no love. Rest assured. I just read an article from a dude. Quentin just threw out authentic. There's another A. I love authenticity. Is my favorite. No, that's not my favorite. Do you know what my favorite is, gang? It's another F word. Freedom. Great relationships you feel free in. You feel safe in. Oh my God, the F's are great. Authentic is magnificent. Judgment. I just read an article from this Christian consultant who deals with churches all over the United States. And he was saying one of the reasons that Christianity is seeing such a drop in attendance right now, and they're seeing a tremendous drop. COVID has accentuated the lack of people engaged in their religion. Here's what it is. Judgment. The people are tired of seeing this idea that Christianity is judging, that Jesus judges, that God judges. Let me say this. Let me make this real clear. I don't care if you're a Christian. I don't care if you're a minister. I don't care if you're a Buddhist, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Jew. I don't care. This is true no matter who you are. If you judge, you're not in love. If you're not in love, you're not inclusive. If you're not inclusive, people truly understand they don't want to be with you. People want to be with people who love, who accept, who explore, who expand, who grow. And as Kai just says, people want to be free to be them. Yeah. So, what a great day. I feel really good about what we just talked about. So here's what I'm going to say to you today. Remember, don't try to change anyone. You can't. And if you try to change yourself, make sure it's something you really value, that you're going to get a lot out of, and it's worthwhile to you, and then the change will come easier. But most of all today, try to be your authentic self and live in love, live in acceptance. And so I'll tell you this right now, no matter who you are or where you are, I accept you and I love you just the way you are. Until tomorrow, gang, have a great day. Aloha.